What is a glup shitto? Glup shitto is an internet term that refers to a very minor character, an ultimately unimportant background character that contributes very little to the plot, if at all, yet still somehow generates an amount of excitement and recognition among fans when they appear. The term was created to describe characters in the Star Wars universe specifically. The name itself makes fun of how stupid some of the names in Star Wars are. There are countless amounts of random aliens in this universe that appear on screen in the background for a second, yet have full names and extensive pages of backstory information on Wikipedia. Thomas & Friends has several of its own glup shittos. A number of characters who appeared once in a single episode, yet still have loads of merchandise and fan love behind them. Characters like Thumper, or Neville, or Derek.
Hello.
The random background diesels on the mainland.
You seen a cheeky blue tank engine? Numbered 1? Nope.
Seriously, who are these guys? Butch is notable because he was the definition of a glup shitto for years. Literally a background character, a piece of set dressing, yet he had a name and everything. And after 10 seasons of simply existing, they made him a recurring character in CGI. One of the very few characters to change its status from glup shitto to recurring. We love our glup shittos. The fact they were used so little is what makes them so alluring. They're blank slates, ripe to be developed more in our own fan stories and AUs. But there's one glup shitto I want to spotlight in particular today, and that's Patrick. You know, Patrick, the cement truck. What? You all don't remember this guy?
Concrete! Rattled Patrick.
Patrick was created for the Jack and the Pack spin-off series, among several vehicle characters to make up the Sodor Construction Company under the control of Miss Jenny Packard. They call themselves the Pack. Patrick's prop was built circa 2001, around the time of Season 6's production, as these photos show. He is, well, a cement mixing truck, and that's about all he's good for. All of the Pack characters each got a spotlight episode in the spin-off series, showcasing their personality traits. Isabella got Mud Glorious Mud, for example. Kelly got Kelly's Windy Day. Ned got Thomas's Trusty Friends. Nelson got Percy Helps Out, and so on. Patrick is the anomaly of the Pack, because he never got a spotlight story. He only appeared in a single episode, On Site with Thomas, which features more of an ensemble cast. Patrick kickstarts the plot. He urges Jack and Alfie to move out of his way because he believes he's more important than them.
What makes you so important?
Concrete!
And then Patrick leaves the episode while the story focuses on Jack and Alfie trying to figure out who actually is the most important member of the team. This causes a ruckus among the Pack and leads to Max and Monty arguing and being careless. They don't pay attention to where they're going and they nearly collide with Patrick. Patrick swerves to avoid them, which results in the most memorable crash of the spin-off series. I remember my jaw dropping when I first saw this episode back in 2006. They f***ed this guy up.
Patrick, were you bragging about concrete again? I might have said something.
And, that's it for Patrick. He never appeared again after this. They did have plans for him though. Only 13 of the planned 26 Pack episodes were produced, and leaked story treatments of the cancelled episodes revealed that Patrick was going to have a spotlight episode. This episode, titled The Importance of Being Patrick, centered around Patrick feeling taken for granted. The story mentions that he was once owned by Miss Jenny's father, Mr. Packard, along with Kelly, which is a very interesting backstory reveal. Patrick is one of the older Pack members. When holes form in the concrete at a new park the day before its grand opening, Miss Jenny informs Patrick.
Holes in my concrete!
He exclaims, offended. Patrick is hurried there at once, and they discover that the holes are actually paw prints from a fox that ran across it while it was drying. Patrick uses a special recipe that Mr. Packard used in the past for quick-drying cement. On the big day, him and the others watch in agony as a fat mare steps on it to dedicate the park. And it doesn't crack. Phew, what a wild story. The conflict revolves around whether or not concrete will crack under the weight of a fat mare. I love this spinoff. They got so creative with the story concepts. Patrick was meant to appear in other episodes as a secondary, but this was really his only spotlight role. But, as they were never produced, it left On Site with Thomas as the only ever appearance of this guy. But here's the interesting part. His story doesn't end there. Patrick almost appeared in the main series on more than one occasion. Earlier this year, Mattel held a huge auction through the prop store for an assortment of props from the series that were basically taking up space in their storage. Props that were ultimately unimportant and would never be used again. Things like close-up models, buildings, random one-time use human figures, and in some cases, full characters. They donated 70% of the proceeds to the National Autistic Society of the UK, so it all went to a good cause. And it gave fans a chance to have a go for something from the show to own. Patrick was one of the character props that sold, and he was sold with a ton of his faces, as well as a face tracker. These trackers were used in Season 12. In place of faces, the characters all wore these trackers, which made it possible for animated CGI faces to be motion tracked on top of them in post-production. Patrick did not appear in Season 12, which makes the fact that he had a face tracker made for him rather interesting. Buster and Ned were also listed with trackers. Were those three meant to appear in this season at some point? The pack do appear this season in the episode Percy and the Bandstand, albeit only Jack, Alfie, and I think Max. I wonder if the others were meant to appear at some point, or were present in a deleted scene. An unused shot of a group of them cheering when the bandstand opens, perhaps? Oh, but it doesn't end there. Here's where it gets really interesting. In 2013, Irish comedian Ardal O'Hanlon was approached to play Patrick the Cement Mixer in the CGI series.
Recently I was asked to play, provide one of the voices for one of the trains, but it wasn't a train though, it was a cement mixer, which was very upsetting. Patrick the Cement Mixer, to be precise. No hint of racial stereotyping there.
He declined the role though, and Patrick ultimately did not appear in the CGI series ever. This is so fascinating to me. What on earth was Patrick supposed to appear in? My guess is that he was going to be in Sodor's Legend of the Lost Treasure, among the rest of the pack members that appeared in that, and others potentially. And if I had to guess, budget probably dictated the decision to axe him and others, and just let the ones that were plot important appear. But man, what a loss. Imagine what Patrick in CGI would have been like. All this is to say that there were several attempts across the show's run in different eras to make use of this character again. In the spin-off, in CGI, and possibly even Season 12. And each time he was axed. Poor old Patrick, the forlorn pack member. Forever a one-episode wonder. A glup shitto. I find Patrick interesting for this reason. His design is also curious to me. All of the pack members had really eye-catching designs with bright colors, to look good as toys. Jack was bright red, of course. Kelly was this tasteful combination of navy blue and cream with red lining. Isabella was yellow with an ornate lining pattern, etc. And then you have Patrick, this cement mixer in this drab brown and cream. I'm not saying I don't like the livery, I really do actually. You'd think they want to make him a color that pops more and looks better on a toy. He just looks so ordinary compared to everyone else. And I love that about him. He thinks he's the most important of the fleet, while looking the most unremarkable. That's good character design, and says a lot about him as a character. I love his face design too. It's a very unusual shape. He looks chubby with those saggy cheeks and big old chin of his. Almost like a bulldog, kinda Winston Churchill-esque. I can just picture him smoking a cigar. I took it upon myself to collect Patrick's merchandise. Despite being a glup shitto, he had a respectable numbers of toys made of him, and they're all quite nice. I own 4 Patricks, and I'll go through each one by one. We'll start with the smallest and work our way up. First up is the Take-Along Patrick. It's a fun little chibi version of the character, mostly made of diecast. For some reason though, he has a buffer beam on his rear. Like, they do know that he's not a train, right? And despite having a buffer beam, he doesn't have a magnet. So, what's the point of the buffer beam? Next up is the Wooden Railway Patrick. This version was produced by Learning Curve in 2012. I think he translated really well into the wooden railway aesthetic. Patrick is a very rounded character with few harsh corners, and Wooden Railway, due to its nature, is usually angular and has harder edges. So I love that they bothered to round off his curves to be accurate. He looks great. Next is the Trackmaster Patrick. This is the freewheeling model. It's basically just set dressing for your Trackmaster layout. But I think it's the most accurate interpretation of the character. They barely sacrificed anything. He's nice and wide, his proportions are all correct. Mine lost its rear ladder at some point, so I made a new one out of a ladder from an old Hornby signal. I bent it and fixed it into place, and I think it looks better. And the last Patrick in my collection is the real Patrick. Surprise! This is a prop reveal video. Yup, I won Patrick in the prop store auction. When the prop store revealed what was going to be up for grabs in early May, I scanned everything. I knew I wanted something from this, and I didn't even really care what it was. I just wanted some piece of the show's history. There was a lot of stuff that appealed to me. The Duke and Duchess figures, the moles from that one pack episode, and of course the train characters like Arthur, but I knew I'd never stand a chance at winning him. But the stuff that stuck out to me the most were the pack props. Mattel seemingly kept the props of pack characters that appeared in CGI, namely Jack, Alfie, Oliver, Max and Monty, and off the rest. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't a little bummed at first to see these guys being all split up. They've been together for over 20 years. But I'd also be lying if I said I didn't want to own one. I knew it was a pipe dream and likely not going to happen, but if I could go home with one of the pack, one of those giant, hefty, detailed, incredible props, I'd be one happy camper. Funnily enough, it was Isabella that interested me the most and the one that I kept tabs on. She appealed to me for a couple reasons. One, her lot was very complete. It was in good condition and she had everything. Her trailer, a driver, some cargo in the form of the piano from Kelly's Windy Day, and the piano lady, whose name is Lady Fortnightly, which I never knew. Two, the only thing she was missing was a face. Isabella didn't have any of her faces, so they auctioned her with unpainted casts instead. I thought this would deter other buyers from wanting her, in favor of characters that had all their faces. And three, she was due to end early on in the auction, and I figured the bidders with deep pockets would wait for the later ones like Ned or Buster. So for 17 days while the auction went on, I kept my eyes on Isabella. The final day came, and I was ready to bid. I woke up early and watched the prop store like a hawk, refreshing the page every 10 seconds. I placed my max bid on Isabella towards the end, and I got outbid. I figured that would probably happen, so I also tried for Kelly, who ended around the same time. And I got outbid on him too. So at that point, I figured I should just try for any pack member and just see what happens. Why not, right? The next up was Patrick. There was a little bit of a bidding war, but eventually I placed my max and I wasn't outbid. The timer ran out and the page refreshed. There it was. Sold to you. The euphoria that I felt in that moment is indescribable. And I didn't fully believe it was real at first. Surely something glitched, right? Someone had to have sniped him at the last second, right? Right? I got the confirmation email about a minute later. Oh, it was real all right. I had won Patrick. Oh my god. And after a couple weeks of waiting, Patrick finally arrived. Here he is. All right. There he is. Patrick is inside that giant box. FedEx just dropped him off about 2 minutes ago. I'm shaking right now with how excited I am. I did not expect the box to be this big. Holy crap. I'm gonna go unbox this. I'll be right back. As the tape shows, this is definitely from the prop store. Okay, I've just opened up the box. As you can see, There's Patrick's flight case. The full, complete metal case. And there's another box here. I'm assuming that's all his faces. Let's free him. Okay, so I'm going to open the smaller box first and save the big man for last. Again, I'm assuming it's his faces in there, but let's find out. Something in here. Not sure what that is. Oh. Yep. There's a face, all right. They're all in here. Okay, I think that's everything. It came with 10 faces, and I count 10 here. Let's open them up. All right, here is the opening of face number 1. Oh my gosh. There he is. The clenched face. Holy crap, this is big. Look at that. It's like the size of my hand almost. And I knew the pack props were big, but I wasn't expecting that. Oh my gosh. And it's heavy too. This is a weighty face. Oh my gosh. All right, let me get the rest of them open. And there they all are. All 10 faces he came with. And his CGI face tracker, which actually looks unused. It is curved at the top, so it does fit on him. But it looks like the actual tracker itself wasn't cut to fit. So now I'm wondering if he was even supposed to be in Season 12, or they even filmed anything with him. Probably not. But they planned for it, you know, just in case. So, who knows? That paper is a certificate of authenticity, signed by all the good people at the prop store, and Ian McHugh himself. Very cool. Yeah, that's really nice. These faces are so expressive. They gave him so many expressions. I think my favorite has to be this one. This sort of like evil grin. I love this. I'm trying to picture a scenario where Patrick would have worn this, and I'm chuckling at myself at the thought. Love that expression. I'll probably display him with that. Also love this one. This sort of like smug sleeping face. Kind of reminds me of like those illustrations in the books where an engine would be smug and they would have their eyes closed and sitting pretty, you know. Another great expression. And here's all of them. Love that sleeping one too. Really mad one with the teeth. That's great. Yeah. Awesome. All right. Let's get the big man out himself. All right, Patrick. We know you're in there. We're coming to free you. And there's his flight case, ready to be opened. I really can't put into words how heavy this thing is. It requires 2 hands. You can't carry this with 1 hand. It's very heavy. Again, I knew the pack props were big and they're heavy, but holy gosh, that is Patrick's going to be a big one. Let's get him open. Oh, there he is. Ah! Can we get this open? I want to damage him at all. And there he is, in his flight case. Nice overview. This, unfortunately, got a little damaged in shipping, it looks like. That's really unfortunate. Hopefully that's an easy fix. We will find out when I pull him out. Boo! And there he is in all his glory. There's Patrick. He honestly just kind of feels like a big Tonka truck. Like these wheels, they're rubber, they turn very easily. Yeah, this just feels like something you'd find on like a Tonka truck toy or some RC truck. So this was easily fixable. The back of the cement mixer actually is made to come off. I guess so they can do repairs. All the mechanics to sort of make it turn are inside there. As you can see, it's held by this piece here. There's a wire that goes down to his cab where the motor is. And this is made to just sort of pop off. It was damaged a little bit in shipping, unfortunately. There's a crack here now. And then this piece broke off. I mean, easily fixable. Just throw some glue on there, but here it is, in case you're all wondering. So yeah. It doesn't turn easily, which makes sense. I mean, it's attached to a motor, so it shouldn't turn freely, but it can turn, but I'd rather not mess with that. He did come with his pourer. It was right here. It was separate in the flight case. And I'm not exactly sure how it's supposed to attach on. I don't know if I'm supposed to like put this part down here and prop it up somehow. It looks like these three parts were attached at one point and then they broke off over time. But I don't know how that works because it's not far enough back for it to like touch right. So I don't know. I'll have to figure that out. Look at the photos that Prop Store posted. This piece must be very fragile though, because it's not the first time it's come off. If you watch the crash in On Site with Thomas, between the two shots of Patrick falling in cement, when he falls into the cement, that first shot has his pourer on the back. And in the second shot, it's gone. And if you look closely, you can see the shadow of it flying off him when he makes impact. So something tells me that this thing was pretty pesky. I'm going to try and figure out a way to attach this. If not, it might just display separately. Closer look at some of the beautiful weathering on this. Like, I love the rust marks. I love all the like little dirt and crap everywhere. It looks great. Looks like he still has some cement splatters on him from his cement crash. And then he'll wipe them off. That's really funny. Provenance, that is. I'm amazed that his rearview mirrors didn't break off. Those are perfectly intact. As are his lights. This one's a bit... Ah, there we go. Perfect. Let's get a face on this guy. Which face should we put on him first? I'm thinking you. And there he is. Oh my gosh. There he is. It didn't really hit me until I put the face on. Oh my gosh. It's Patrick. He's in my house right now. There he is. Oh my goodness. How you doing? So here's his inventory label. TF00025. Pretty early on. That's 25th item that they marked off. Do you have games on your phone? Oh, that one's great. What kind of scenario would this face have been used? I can only imagine. It's called Innocent. It says Innocent on the back. Here, I'll show you. Innocent. Innocent Patrick, ladies and gentlemen. Innocent Patrick. And there's this classic laughing face. A face he didn't even use on screen, but is present in all the merchandise for some reason. So, here's some cursed information for you. Something I didn't know until today. His door opens. Yep. You can see all his brains inside. There's a battery pack right there. All the wires. Lights. Oh my gosh, his headlights work. That must be what the battery pack's for. Or that's for the iMac. I'm not sure. Could be for either. I don't know why, but Patrick with an open door looks kind of cursed. It's like looking at a Cars character with the door open. It feels wrong. And here's Patrick with all of his children. All those fat, chubby faces. Look at them. They're so expressive. I love these so much. This one's funny. I wish he used this in the show. So is this one. This one cracks me up. This is my favorite, though. I think this is my favorite Patrick face. The sort of scheming, evil grin. It's perfect. I wish he got a chance to use that. So I figured you all want to see him with all those faces that he never used. Here's him with that alternate happy face. Kind of a weird expression. He looks very dead inside with this one. Compared the forehead crack to the photo in the prop listing, and it does seem like it worsened a little bit since the listing photos were taken. I don't know if that got damaged in transit or what, but this is definitely one I'm going to have to be a little more careful with. I'll just say I'm glad of all the faces that could be damaged. I'm glad it was this one, because we have 3 faces here that are pretty identical, so this one will safely just kind of be packed away and not get any more damaged. Here's a really happy face. I don't know what you call this, like excitement, glee. He looks possessed. I think that's what I'm going to call it. And here's his depressed face. He's so sad. Here's this evil grin again. Yeah, that's definitely my favorite. Love that one. He looks like such a schemer. Here's a really pissed face. Grinded his teeth, I guess. And what's a pack member without an expressive clenched face? Love that one. And here's Patrick snoozing, having a dream of some sort. And here's Patrick having a really good dream. I love this one too. This is probably my second favorite. And here's that hilarious innocent face to finish it all off. Hysterical expression. I love this one. And that's Patrick. I still can't believe this thing is in my house right now. It's unreal. I do plan on making a video showing a much more in-depth look at everything Patrick, with much better lighting. If there's anything specific that you'd like to see on him, or from me, like reference photos of him and his faces, let me know, and I'll try to make that happen. In that video, I'll also dive into how I plan to repair some of his broken bits, and how I plan to display him to keep him safe from dust and the elements. So it may take a bit of time. My goal is to preserve him to the best of my abilities. The last thing I want is for him to suffer any more damage. Until then, back into the flight case he goes to stay safe. So this is goodbye from Patrick for now, but you will see his pretty face again very soon.
All right, I think we're all in agreement. I'm in charge here.